Hey guys, so we are back once again for another Stocks by Request. This is our first tranche of Stocks by Request. If you're watching this right now, I posted a video more than 2 hours ago in this channel talking about the Philippine markets, why it moved up, why it broke out, and then connecting that to the US election. Then at 8 p.m., I also posted another video talking about in my main channel with Rix Hernandez talking about real estate investing via Airbnb. Is it still good to make money via Airbnb in spite of what's going on right now, in spite of the lockdowns, in spite of the recession that happened 8 p.m. main channel. Then we have this. Then, as what I've mentioned on the first video, we're doing 4 videos today. After this, we're gonna talk about the top stocks that you guys requested also via social media. So put them in the comment section below if you want me to tackle them for the next video. So that will be out around 10:30 tonight as well in the midst of the elections. So by the way, let's continue. Let's do a deep dive on Jollibee as Jollibee moved up today. It was so interesting how it moved up. And that's why a lot of you guys have been sending me messages. In Instagram alone, I got over 100 messages already talking about the same thing, asking about Jollibee. And here we go. Here we are. We're going to do another deep dive on Jollibee. So I'm going to structure today's video talking about Jollibee. Number one, talking about the price action, what happened today, talking about broker buyings, local foreign buyings. Then we're gonna go through, is there any significant news item? Then we're gonna go about the fundamentals of Jollibee. Then lastly, we're gonna end it also with technical analysis. As you all know, I'm a big fan of charting. I'm a big fan of technicals because everything you need to know is found on the charts. Everything you need to know can be found by looking at what the price is telling us, brought about by technical analysis. But as I continue, please do remember this, that never, ever, 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 ever buy a stock just because someone from YouTube is talking about it. Never buy, sell, hold, avoid a stock. Please. Very, very important. It's your money, it's your responsibility. You have to take the time to learn. You have to take the time to build the skill because the stock market is all about skill. The stock market is all about deploying time, energy, effort, experience for you to become better of your trade. This is never about get rich quick, and this channel will never tell you what to buy or sell because you have to make that decision on your own. Now, let's look at Jollibee first from its price movement for today and comparing it to the broad market. Jollibee closed up today, closing at 185 pesos per share. It's up 10.5 points, giving it a percentage gain of 6.02% with a value turnover of 300 million, which is relatively respectable. And looking at it no, in the grand value turnover for the day, value turnover for the day is 6.67 billion. If you put everything together, 777 million of that 6.67 billion was brought about by Dito. So Jollibee was around 5% of the value traded today. BDO is also the same, 374, SM 336. Jollibee ended the day with the fourth highest value turnover, followed by Ayala, which is number five uh, with 296 million value turnover. That being said, also, I want to do a deep dive on the buyers and sellers for the day for Jollibee. And one of the reasons why Jollibee, I think also, for, at least from a price standpoint, has gone up over the past few months was primarily because foreigners again started to buy. And if you've been watching the previous videos, that could be the narrative if you are a long term investor. What do I mean by that? What could be the narrative if you're a long term investor? Foreigners will always come back. As foreigners come back, you have a decision, if conviction decision, that if you are an investor, if the stock is good, when there's a lot of fear, when there's maximum fear, that's one of the biggest times for you. When everyone's scared, it's one of the biggest times for you also to position when everyone does not want to pay attention to it, when everyone does not like it. If you're an investor and you believe in the company, you believe in its growth, you believe that in the midst of the pandemic, in the midst of the losses, that they will turn things back again. That's where you start to deploy, because when foreigners start to come back again, they will push the markets higher and they will have to buy the stock at a much higher price. So for today, foreigners have been net buyers to the tune of 62 million. In terms of brokerages, Papa Securities had the highest, at least, value turnover with around 55 million. They bought at an average of 180. Their weight in terms of buying is around 18.33%. Abacus was around 10% also. Then you had Mandarin, 100% of their uh, where trades were basically foreign institution. Their weight was around 8.58. Sellers for today, Call Financial, 21.77% of the trades. Average was around 181.26. Pretty much those were local trades. Foreign volume from that was only 0.19%. You have Maybank, who were also sellers. They sold at an average of 184, which is relatively higher. Weight is around 10% of the total traded volume, pretty much mostly locals also. Then there. I tried to look at some of the news items no, for this to somehow check was there anything also that has, aside from foreigners buying and selling, was there uh, was there a trigger from a news standpoint that could have caused this? But a couple of news items for at least to watch out or have been disclosed for Jollibee is number one. I really believe that they've been really good also in terms of their pivot, as what I said from the previous videos that in times of recession, in times of crisis, good companies pivot, good companies get better, good companies develop new things that will allow them to become even better in the next at least in the next few years. And Jollibee has allotted 7 billion in terms of restructuring, no, to somehow uh, streamline their services, to also move not just from uh, purely brick a purely brick and mortar business, but to also move into an e-commerce type of store where they will get a chunk also of their earnings from e-commerce. And if there's one thing that this pandemic has shown us is that uh, e-commerce is here to stay even after this, after the illness is done, after it's over. I believe you will see more and more and more transactions online, and the traditional businesses that made a lot of money from brick and mortar, if they pivot well, they will build a new stream of income for them, because at the end of the day, this is already the new normal for all of us. Another news item that came out, and I made a lot of videos about this already, is that Jollibee just took in a larger position again for Tim Ho Wan. And please do note that this is part of Jollibee's strategy still. Uh, the name of the game for Jollibee is basically they want not just to be a local player, they want to be an international player. They want to be one of the largest restaurants, fast food chains, and casual dining chains in the world. And syempre, if they just use the Jollibee brand, which is good on its own, it will tap a relatively limited market up until they really head to head will fight up against the McDonald's, the Burger Kings of the world, which still has a larger foothold in that same space. So that's where it is. And if you add all of their stores now, I think they're around 6,000 plus already. Add Coffee Bean, add Smash Burger, add Tim Ho Wan, add their stores in China, add their stores in Vietnam. Jollibee is one of the largest chains in the world. Around, I think they're in the top 20 already. So that's the second news item that I've seen um, that has come out since the large drop in March. Please do note also that I said this in a previous video that because of the lockdown, which is quite acceptable also, that uh, Jollibee had a net loss. Because of the net loss, also Jollibee had to close around 255 stores. I think the net loss was around 12 billion for the first half of the year. Which, please do note this, that I've said this also in the previous videos, that their best year over the stretch course of the past 5 years was 2018. 2019 was lower than 2019. 2018 was the best. 2019 they made money but was lower than 2018. Then for 2020, their earnings are, how do I put this? They lost money. So if you're gonna compare 2020 to 2019, it's way off. But 2019 also is not something that a lot of investors are excited about, because income fell for 2019. But for 2020, income alone, the earnings were not as good. But please do note this: in spite of them closing stores, they're still set to open 338 stores for 2020, and I think their their position, no, or at least looking at having Coffee Bean and Smash Burger to be profitable by next year, by 2021. So Currently, Jollibee has 3,286 stores in the Philippines, then around 2,588 stores around the world, which covers all of their other brands as well. So those are things that you need to note also before we go into the charts. And please do note that closing stores also means that instead of bleeding money, uh, it lessens the bleeding for them, especially for stores that will have relatively low volumes of traffic. Please remember that um, when all of this is happening, if their stores are open, it will incur a large amount of losses. It will still also put a large amount of operating costs in it for low traffic. So what they're doing is, I think, a wise move is they're just consolidating their stores, meaning they don't have to open a lot because there's still a pivot because of this crisis, because of this lockdowns. Not a lot of people will be out. If not a lot of people will be out, the name of the game will still be e-commerce. The name of the game is people will be ordering online, drive through and delivery. And truth be told, even for me, no, we've eaten Jollibee over the past 7 months, but all of them were either takeout or delivery. We really haven't tried to dine in. Now, just wanted to speak on a couple of things in terms of pivots. Is that in the midst of the pandemic, Jollibee has been opening stores also in. I've mentioned this in Italy. They're also opening stores also in China, and they plan to have Tim Ho Wan. They plan to open a ton of Tim Ho Wan stores in China by 2025. So that's so interesting because, as you all know, Tim Ho Wan serves dim sum, and there's a lot of dim sum in China, and their competitors there are also massively great brands and food, and they would have to compete for the Chinese palate. And please remember that Jollibee has also other Chinese brands under their belt. They have Chowking, which is not in China. They also have Panda Express, which is a U.S. Chinese chain that they have here in the Philippines as well. So very, very interesting to see. And I think their target by 2025 is to have around 100 stores in uh, at least in China as well. So there. So now let's look at the charts. Comment below if you're learning. Comment if this is something that is helping you. Comment if this is something that is adding massive amounts of value. Because I realize that I just don't want to share just purely the technicals of it. I also want to share uh, the news, the fundamentals, and all of the other things that will help shape the movement of the stock. Please do note that from a trend perspective, from a technical analysis perspective, we have the ability to spot trends, we have the ability to spot charts. And what I've been sharing also for quite some time for Jollibee is that there was a large and massive uptrend for Jollibee. Allow me to show you from the chart also so you have greater context for it. There was a large, massive uptrend, but that large, massive uptrend, if you allow me to zoom out from this chart right here, this large, massive uptrend got broken. And you can reference the other videos that I posted about this, talking about Jollibee's massive uptrend to be broken. So, that being said, it's quite clear also after the breakage of this uptrend. And if you'll allow me to zoom in a bit here, it made its own downward trend. It made its own downward trending line here. So from a trend standpoint, right here, it was quite obvious that this was a downward trending move for Jollibee, and that started April 2019. If you reference the previous videos that I talked about for Jollibee, um, the downtrend started here also, not just from this, but also from the breakage of the 200-day moving average. This was around May 16, 2019. This was way before all of their other disclosures. This was way before them disclosing that they also bought Coffee Bean. So the large downward move for Jollibee was pretty much in context because of this particular breakdown here. That being said, if you'll measure this, and we've done this in different videos, the downward push from Jollibee made it go down around 69%, which is something that's which is a large downward move. But that being said as well, I drew this trend line here. And as you can see, something happened a few weeks ago. Something happened right here, September 21, 22, 23, 24, that we saw Jollibee reverse and break out from that downward trend. And if there's one thing that I do know, when we see stocks reverse, when we see stocks break out from downward trends, it will start and form different movements. It will start and form different trends as well. And whatever reversal that we saw was also confirmed by it breaking out from the 200-day moving average right here, and it breaking out also from the 150 resistance level, which, if you notice it here, it was a resistance level that it was a level that got broken down from last March 2020. So what's interesting about that is, by all intents and purposes, I've made different videos of other stocks. Some of them have not broken out from the resistance from the drop of March, but Jollibee is doing something different because it has already broken past it. Not just breaking past it, uh, it has broken the downtrend. It has also broken from the 200-day moving average. But above and beyond that, it has broken out from the 150 resistance level. But what's so interesting today is this. Today, Jollibee, with a large green bullish candle, closed at 185 pesos per share. As it closed at the 185 pesos per share mark, it broke past the 183 resistance that we've pegged here. The resistance is pegged because of this, and this. So Jollibee, for the first time since February 24, has broken above the 183.24 level. So please do write this down. If the 183.24 level solidifies itself as a level of support, then there's a possibility that we could see Jollibee go back to 200. Breakout from 200 could possibly bring it to 215 and 231. And it's also building its own counter trend. It's also building its own uptrend. It's also making its own upward push. So Jollibee, since the drop last March, is already up more than 100% for those who bought when there was fear, for those who braved the fear that was going on. Congratulations to all of you. For those who positioned well and were not shaken down, for those who were doing well, that you were a long-term investor in Jollibee, you knew the fundamentals, you knew that Jollibee was run very, very well, and you positioned. I believe that you are being rewarded for the efforts that you've been for the risks that you took. And for those who bought from the breakout from 150, currently from the breakout of 150, you're up around 20+% already. So please do write this down. If Jollibee stays above 183 and 183.25 solidifies itself as a support, next resistance is 199, next, or 200, then 215, then 231. So again, please do note this. Stock investing and trading is all about the risk reward stock. It's all about the parameters that you put. If 183 does not hold, then 183 again reinforces itself as a resistance. If 183 reinforces itself as a resistance, then there's a possibility, then there's a narrative that 183 turns back to a resistance. The 151 level becomes the support. So please do write this down. Conditional: 183 makes its way as a support. You have 199 slash 200 as your resistance. 183.25 solidifies itself as support. Next resistances will be 215 and 231. But if over the course of the next few days, Jollibee does not hold the 183 level, current possible retracement for it is it could go, number one, short term possible retracement could be here at the 169 level. If the 169 level does not hold, possible retracement will be at the 150, 151 support level. But that being said, if it stays above the 150, 151 level, the reversal, because of this downward trending line that got broken, and because of this, and because of this upward trending line, is still pretty much intact. But please do note this. We're going to update you over the next few days, weeks, how this will possibly go, so that you get the right information at the right time. But I'll say this over and over: don't just buy a stock just because I talk about it. Don't just buy a stock just because it's buy, sell, avoid the stock, just because someone on YouTube is discussing it, analyzing it. Please remember, these are not stock tips. These are not stock picks. This is me sharing my ideologies, my principles, my strategies on how I analyze a stock, that I hope that you get bits and pieces of information from this so that you can replicate this. And that's what's important, because I'm not here to give you fish. I'm here to give you the ability to analyze it on your own. Because if you know how to analyze it on your own, then hey, you now have the ability to replicate it. And you now have the ability to do it on your own. And as you now have the ability to do it on your own, you can share this to your family, you can share this to your friends. And that's when we see wealth multiplied it, that it doesn't just stay with you, but it somehow gets multiplied, that we see more and more and more and more and more people benefit from this. And that's the whole narrative of this channel. More Filipinos being profitable, more Filipinos, that this generation would be richer than the previous one, but the next generation would be wealthier than us, because we set the platform, we set the standard, that we say that enough is enough, that you don't have to be, there should not be lack, that you can use the stock market, but you can, but for you to use the stock market, you need to build the skills. So please don't buy just because it's mentioned. Study, create your due diligence. And you know what's even more amazing? Smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm, so that more and more people see this video, more and more people get educated. And if you got value from this, um, I'd appreciate it if you could just not just press the like button, but share this social media, and also comment below, because it really helps for all of the videos that I make. I ask it also because I don't know. It's our way also of letting people know that finance investing is not something that's boring. It's not something that it should intimidate people, but it's something that wherever you are in the world, if you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an accountant, you're an analyst, you're a business person, you're an entrepreneur, you're an OFW, you're a stay-at-home mom, you're an IT practitioner, that you can invest in the market, that you're an engineer, that wherever you are, as long as you're willing to take the time and the effort to build the necessary skill, it can be done. You can win, and you can trade the markets with confidence. If you'd like to know more about this, in the description below, we have technical and fundamental analysis playlists. They're all in YouTube. They're all free. I also have books for those who want to consume content via reading. For those who want to, uh, for those who want to subscribe to my first channel, it's Marvin Germo. We have over 1,600 videos already there for all of you. So we're in the 22-minute mark. Comment below for those who stayed up until the end. And as what I've been doing, I will try to greet people who watched the previous video as part of my practice, as what we've been doing, so that I don't know, parang masaya lang. I just wanna, since you guys are part of this daily community as well, since wala akong masyado nakita tao, kayo yung nakikita ko, I just wanna greet most of you. So I wanna greet Louis Cesar, El Lauiet, Road Trip, Geraldine Dinglasan, John Chan, Je Orlisa, Mary Teodoro. By the way, Je Orlisa, thank you for the voice tips to preserve my voice. You have Assassination Gaming, Alihan Nohera, Ricardo Rule, ISM Israel, Mariam Buenaventura, Nathaniel Kating Hoy, Kino Benavente, Patrick Miguel, Georgette Mecabels. Yun, basically that's it. If you guys have any questions, also slide a DM via my Instagram. Kaso sobrang dami nag-message, di ko kayo nare-replyan lahat. Patreon community, or also if you want to support the channel and the things that I do, you can join our YouTube community and support the channel as well. So that's it for now. Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.